Hi, we're at the Agile Supply Chain Research Club meeting, and I'm really pleased to have James Lennon here from Procter & Gamble. And one of the things we've been talking about is the VUCA World, which is a new world we're operating with. So, James, welcome. Hi. And let's explain what on earth is VUCA.
Yeah, so VUCA stands for volatile, unpredictable, complex and ambiguous. And it's the four-letter word now that we're using to describe the environment that we're playing in a consumer goods industry. We're in a dynamic world, we're in an unpredictable world, and what we've had to do over the last 5 years or so is now evolve our demand planning process to be able to meet the VUCA world and the environment that we now have.
So really we've moved from a time of, we've been talking about times of relative stability. Everybody's saying, well, we wish, in hindsight it was stable. So if we go back 5 years, how stable were things? Were you able to forecast everything pretty easily?
Yeah, so again, as you say, relatively so, and with hindsight, we're now looking back and believing that, yeah, we had relative stability in the way that we were doing our forecasting. And we have a different strategy, and we're able to categorise all of our different SKUs in the marketplace. And back then, about 60% of our business was in the predictable area, where we were able to use statistical forecast to predict the future. And it was relatively low effort in those days to be able to demand plan. In a VUCA world, we're in an unpredictable world, and our strategy has moved so that there's less use of statistical forecast to predict the future, and we're having to really rely heavily on business intelligence, so really trying to predict exactly what's going to happen in the marketplace, which requires a totally new level of effort to be able to demand plan.
So this is where really our standard statistical forecasting techniques are no longer viable, and the business intelligence, as you say, I guess this is touching on the world of big data as well, pulling in vast amounts of data and then trying to work out what is the appropriate data to be able to actually plan our supply chain on.
That's right. There's a couple of elements here. One is collaboration with our retail partners, because the gathering of the business intelligence absolutely relies on a good foundational relationship with our retail partners to be able to understand what the joint business plan is. And also the second thing is to then leverage the ever-increasing data availability that we have today, whether it's consumption, shipments, inventory, so that we can try and develop a total picture of the end-to-end supply chain. And the challenge is to use resource, use our relationships with customers and the data that we have available to add value for the supply chain and the way that we do the planning.
I think, we were discussing that really the big thing about this is synchronisation, not between two businesses, but across the total supply chain, so that you can actually cope with the VUCA world and all this volatility which comes with it.
That's right, and I think over the last 2 to 3 years particularly, not only has P&G moved on from a silo thinking of how to optimise our internal supply chain, retailers have done the same, and we're now partnering across the end-to-end supply chain, across the industry, to think about using data, readily available data, to be able to synchronise our supply chains. At the moment, we haven't finished that, and we're on a journey. But we truly believe that the future is one where we can synchronise our supply chain across the end-to-end with a way that we can focus our pace of manufacturing to match consumer demand. And in doing that, you take losses out of the end-to-end supply chain, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's transport, or whether it's planning heads, to essentially make the end-to-end supply chain more efficient.
James, thank you very much indeed. So here we can see a big strategy here for creating more agility within the supply chain and actually synchronising what's going on. Thank you very much, James.